Speaker, sir, I'd like to go back a few years while you were Fiji's High Commissioner, or at that time Ambassador to the United Kingdom. When you called and asked me if I could be available to be the Secretary General's envoy, special envoy for peace in the Solomon Islands. I remember I was at a provincial council meeting in Eroi in South at that time. But I've maintained a close interest on the affairs of the Solomon Islands since that. But our association goes further back. We share an enduring relationship that's rooted in our shared Melanesian heritage, our mutual respect, and a commitment to advance our shared vision for a resilient and peaceful Pacific region. We have a long history, Mr. Speaker, sir, of strong people-to-people links dating back to when the Fijian Methodist missionaries were called to go to the Solomons with the European missionaries in Fiji at the time to spread the good news. And even during the Second World War, when our battalions participated in the Pacific campaign, particularly in the Solomon Islands, we have the late Tunevalu buried now in an area known as Papua New Guinea, but at that time it was known as part of the Solomons. We also had the late Reverend Useaso Tutu of Bua, who was decorated as a scout. He was a Methodist minister, but he was decorated with a military British Empire medal as a scout during the war. Speaker, our formal diplomatic relations with the Solomon Islands was established on the 28th of July, 1978, not long after the Solomon Islands achieved independence. And since then, we have worked together to grow the relationship across many sectors. Symbolic of this, Fiji has set aside a piece of land for the Solomon Islands to build their chancery, for which a soft launch was recently held in Monikau on the margins of the MSG leaders meeting held here in Suva a while ago. The maritime boundary negotiations, the Speaker, sir, in early July this year, Fiji deposited 3 extended continental shelf claims to the Commission on the Limits of Continental Shelf, a body established under the UNCLOS, United Nations Convention on the Laws of the Sea, to review submissions from coastal states regarding the outer limits of their continental shelf beyond the 200 nautical miles. 2 of the 3 submissions, Mr. Speaker, sir, covered the North Fiji Basin, jointly submitted by Fiji, the Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu, and the Melanesian Borderland Plateau, jointly submitted by Fiji and the Solomon Islands. This is a major achievement because it reflects years of scientific cooperation, legal diligence, and the collective vision of the 3 Melanesian countries to secure and preserve our shared ocean space for future generations. The Maritime Affairs Coordinating Committee, MAC, chaired by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Fiji, with members including the Office of the Prime Minister, Ministry of Land and Mineral Resources, Solicitor General's Office, and Fiji's Hydrographic Services under the Republic of Fiji Navy, have been working on Fiji's ECS, or Extended Continental Shelf Claims, since 2006. This submission was made possible through significant technical support from the Pacific Community, Geoscience Australia, the University of Sydney, the United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, and others. On trade, Mr. Speaker, sir, Fiji enjoys a healthy trade relationship with the Solomon Islands under two regional trade agreements, the Melanesian Spearhead Group Trade Agreement, MSGTA, and the Pacific Island Countries Trade Agreement, PICTA. An MSG meeting in the 1990s was held on my estate in Punmalebo, where we consolidated this trade agreement, and it was called initially the Valhalla Agreement. In 2024, Fiji achieved one of the highest total export earnings from the Solomon Islands with a value of 25 million, 25.4 million, almost 25.5 million. Fiji is the top export into the Solomon Islands in 2024 were biscuits at 3.69 million, followed closely by sausages and similar meat products, 3.38 million, and electric conductors, 2.05 million. These figures, Mr. Speaker, sir, reflect a strong demand across both food and non-food sectors, supporting household consumption, infrastructure, and retail needs in the Solomon Islands. While the balance of trade is in Fiji's favor, there remains opportunity for increased trade, and we will continue to work towards reducing trade barriers and encouraging business-to-business collaboration. On security, Mr. Speaker, sir, Fiji has long supported the Solomon Islands in their nation-building efforts. Fiji's tradesmen and administrators were deployed in the 1960s for the development of Honiara. One of those pioneers was the late Mr. Mbalekana, who also composed the Solomon Islands national anthem. Our security personnel have been deployed to Solomon Islands to assist them in their times of need. In 2003, a contingent was deployed as part of the Regional Assistance Mission that finally concluded its work a few years ago. You will also recall, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the Regional Assistance Mission was for Solomon Islands. Ramsey came out of my report as a special envoy to the Secretary General of the Commonwealth for Peace in the Solomons. More recently, in 2024, during the national elections, Fiji responded to their call for support, and we will continue to respond when called upon. We are working on a draft agreement between Fiji and the Solomons, and we will ensure ease of movement if there is a need for future deployment, and Ministry of Defense and Veteran Affairs is taking the lead in those discussions. Looking ahead, Mr. Speaker, sir, Solomon Islands is preparing to host the Pacific Islands Forum Leaders meeting in September. One of the key items of discussion will be the Ocean of Peace Declaration, and I look forward to discussing this further with the forum. On climate resilience, Mr. Speaker, sir, climate resilience is a cornerstone of regional cooperation in the Pacific, driven by the shared vulnerability of the Pacific Island countries to the impacts of climate change. Collaboration is anchored in the Pacific collective approach, guided by regional frameworks and institutions that promote solidarity, resource sharing, and coordinated action. This is closely related to our cooperation in the ocean space and the collaborative work on climate resilience. Fiji and Solomon Islands have supported each other's climate positions at regional and global forums, including during COP negotiations and through the Alliance of Small Island States, AISIS. We collaborate on regional initiatives as active participants in the framework for resilient development in the Pacific, which emphasizes integrated approaches to climate change adaptation and disaster risk reduction and sustainable development. Fiji has been a strong advocate and implementer of the FRDP, providing models as peer learning opportunities. There is also a number of green climate fund projects that Fiji and Solomons are part of, and will enhance access to climate finance, implement locally led adaptation solutions, and establish impact-based early warning systems to reduce vulnerability and build resilience to climate change and extreme weather events. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank the Honourable Prime Minister for his statement.